All right, folks, let's go ahead and get started. As we were. Let's get this geared up. Come on, you can do it. Here we go. All right. So yesterday, if you didn't catch our session, we finished up by this guy here. It's for our Italian nights, and we were working on the rooster guy. Okay, so we're gonna finish him this morning. That's what our priority is. Okay. And of course, I picked up some of this area yesterday, so I got to find all of my working paintbrushes here again. Let's start with those two. That's, I believe, the main ones. Should have enough of this liquid here. Happy Sunday. Unless you have to go to work. Then, not so happy Sunday. Yep. Perfect. All right. I bet this little concoction is going to be dry here. You know, there's the whites dry again, so we're going to have to, let's put a drop of white on there because we're going to need that in a moment. Sure to remix this light one here. We don't have to paint a lot of nights for this army, just 6 for the time being. We already got 1.5 done. Already got 2 people on. Welcome. A lot of Sunday is more popular than Saturday. I wonder why. You guys have less honeydew lists on Saturday or on Sunday, or this is about where we left off. Yep, here we go. Trying to ask around today if we can figure out what we're going to do tomorrow, who's going to show up for game day, so we can determine what we're going to do. Fellows like wait until the last minute on that, so I don't know what the hell it'll be. We will see. Those of you guys that may have noticed, I've been uploading the last couple of weeks, last week or so, some videos off my Facebook Live that were due to expire. Let me know if any of you guys were not aware that those videos were on Facebook Live. I did Facebook Live because I had access to being able to do that live before I could do it here on YouTube. And I only did it for a little bit because once I got the reach the 1,000 subscriber limit, YouTube now found it worthy that I was able to do that. So, but that's why we did it. The problem with going on Facebook Live is there's a lot of people that don't want to use Facebook for whatever reason. So I'm only going to get a third of the audience. So that doesn't make any sense to put a video up that only a third of as many people are going to see. So how many of you guys checked out those videos that you weren't aware of? They were on Facebook Live because you don't use Facebook. I'd be interested to know. So not that I'm going to go back to doing Facebook Live at all, especially with how picky they are about content. I know that I mentioned on here that I had an incident a couple of months back that I posted I don't put controversial stuff on there, but I had a meme that I shared a couple of years ago. And 3 months ago, they said that I violated their terms and I couldn't go on Facebook Live for a month as punishment, even though this that I posted was a couple of years ago. It was a funny meme involving rock, paper, scissors and Churchill and the man with a crooked spider. And it's a great meme. I didn't come up with it. It didn't promote. It didn't promote any short dictators with mustaches, but they still didn't like it on there. So I really don't want to use Facebook Live for anything else because that's like use some common sense, dudes. Especially with the kind of stuff that's on there. I mean, there's some a lot of questionable stuff that does get through. So, anywho, yeah, I'd be curious to see if anybody wasn't aware that those videos were out there, and now that they're on the YouTube channel, they're like, oh, okay, cool, I'll check this out. All right, let's lighten this up a little bit here in these folds. We don't have a lot left to do. We just ran out of time yesterday. I did work on one other thing now that I think about it. It's out in the garage. Maybe I'll get a chance to bring that in on this show. I left it out there and just realized that it's still out there. I got a house full of people. Well, not full of people, but I don't want to be extra noisy and wake them up. They wake them up, then it cuts into my painting time. You know what I'm saying? So be very quiet. Okay. Good morning. You weren't aware of these videos, so I'll add them to my watch list. Excellent. Good morning, Dirk. Good. Thanks for letting me know that. Yeah, I know lots of people that don't use Facebook. Everybody has their reasons. I can see if they don't want to use Facebook for privacy issues, but not going on there because of controversy. I don't get involved with keyboard commandos or anything like that. We're all adults. We all have our own opinions. I'm not interested in converting anybody to my train of thought, nor do I think it's going to happen. So let's just focus on stuff we have in common, right? But I can see if you have privacy issues, I don't know. I think it's been instrumental for this hobby to be able to communicate with people on basically an immediate basis. I don't use email at all for my hobby stuff. It's just way too slow. And the biggest problem with the email, and this happens even at work, you'll send an email to multiple people, like asking a question, and one person will answer that question, and then the next person is ready to add some information. They don't even check the latest email. They're starting from the same point, so you end up like backtracking a lot, and it just start turning into like a room with like everybody talking at the same time. So not really my thing to use email for that. I'm tinkering with the neck on this because I wasn't really happy with how it turned out. I need to fatten this chicken up. Okay, that got better. It's just a tiny little bit more. There, that's better. Yeah, I don't use personal email because of that. It's I don't know what it's called, okay? Because I still think I'm technologically challenged, but I don't do that. I don't do technology stuff for a living. Yeah, IT and stuff like that. But when you have a thread and you get it on email, it's difficult to see who said what. And it's like, if you have some kind of like a bulletin board or something like that, it's a lot easier to follow. But email is just, I don't care for it when you've got lots of people involved. So I rarely check my personal email. So, all right, what do we got left on this? I think the yellow, I'm going to tinker with a little bit on or maybe the face of this guy. But there's different platforms out there that some people like, and I don't do TikTok stuff, obviously, for multiple reasons. I don't use Twitter. On Twitter. I don't need to follow people. I'm not much of a fanboy. There's a lot of fanboys out there. Or fangirls. Um, famous people. Lots of people are interested in famous people. If somebody said, this came up the other day, at some point, it might have come up at work or some other environment, but if you had a chance to meet one famous person, who would it be? I don't know that I'd care to meet anybody famous. They all got all kinds of issues, man. Oh, I know what it was. It was some poll done on Facebook. What's the most famous person you've ever met? I put Phil Barker. I was within 20 feet of a president once. Other than that, but I didn't meet him. I was on the front row of a Rush concert for like the first 5 songs. That's all my fame to glory. That's all I have there, you know. No, I don't, you know. I'm not a fanboy, you know. I'd rather meet some of these painters that are on the internet. I don't mean me. I mean people that are really good. I don't mean that my stuff sucks that bad. You know what I'm saying? There's people out there that are in the hobby that are, you know, really talented. I'd rather have a chat with them. But I'm actually surprised to find that several people are very elusive about how they do their hobby. Almost like they don't get. Look, you like a freaking magician or something like that? You don't want to give away your tricks? I'll give it all away. I don't give a shit. I can't take it with me. Somebody may be struggling with something, and, you know, that might be a catalyst to push them over. Here we go. We got another guy with a surcoat. All right. So let's do this again. Yeah, I don't want to hide my tricks. It's all tricks, folks. That's it. Lots of people have fans and heroes. I don't have any heroes. No. Oh well. I don't know which one of these guys we're gonna do next. I don't have any heroes, but I do have favorite generals. Unlike Joel, Joel will be coming pretty soon. You gotta start joining us every week. That'll be cool, unless you're not a fan of him, in which case, you know, oh, it's good to have another person around. As long as I have a good attitude, he's got a good attitude. Should be doing some DBN type of stuff about once a week. I'm sorry, once a month. So we'll work that stuff in there as well. For those of you that are DBN fans, it's got a lot of armies painted. And he knows the rules. So he can paint the armies and run the game. I'm just sitting there rolling dice and drinking. Sounds like a pretty good deal for me. And this, of course, is another one of these guys that has these funny little greaves that I found out yesterday these figures have. The next 2 weekends are going to be pretty low on the amount of painting I'm going to be able to do. So I'm going to try to do this while we can. Probably going to be out of town for both of them. But we'll see. It's so hard to get any of this done during the week. But then, what is this? Is this June already? Yeah, at the end of this month. Rumor has it. I'm going to say rumor has it because that way, if it changes, it's not on me. I'm going to have about a week of playing Bachelor, so you'll see a lot more of me that week. Planning on getting some stuff done during that time. I don't know if you guys enjoy these videos. They've been extremely helpful for me to get things done. It keeps me from, cranking up, say, the Xbox or something like that and just end up playing that for an hour or two. I'd rather sit there and paint this and then have something to show for it and then have more material for future videos. So I certainly enjoy being able to share this with you guys. It helps me out tremendously to stay on task. Oh, coffee not working too well. It's thick enough. I just wonder if I'm getting immune to caffeine. I don't drink that much. I mean, you guys see me drink it, but I'm not having it. I'm not having another cup when I get off of here. You enjoy it. We've had very different painting styles. These sessions do inspire me. Cool. Unfortunately, it seems like I take forever to paint something, but that's all right. I don't have to repaint it. I mean, I could spend a year tinkering with this thing, with the colors on them, adding another little highlight here, so forth. Okay, I think we're going to call that one done on the yellow. Horsey color time. I'm going to make this one a really dark brown. SS Camouflage Black. 150. Some of these colors I bought. See, almost all these videos were around 2004 when I got them. And some of those colors I've just never had to rebuy. That's one of them. I don't use that much of it. What is that? 16 years old? 17 years old? Seems like a lot, but I still have Games Workshops that are 30 years old. That's crazy. That's crazy. I mentioned that in a Facebook group that I had joined a while ago and said that, you know, Games Workshop had to change what kind of paint colors they did, the paint containers, because they just never dry out. They couldn't sell any more paint, and it meant that in jest, and people, Games Workshop fanboys just jumped all over me. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess I don't belong in this group. It was like the first posting I had made on it as well. I joined it because it was like a painting, group that it had a catchy name. And, usually they posted a lot of things that I really didn't have much input in. And when that came up, I'm like, holy shit. You guys are going to be nasty like that. I don't need to be in this group. Done. What time is it? Other than getting to be like, oh man, it's almost 6:30. The hell? How'd that happen? I don't have time to deal with nastiness in the hobby, man. This should be all relaxation. You want to be nasty with people in your hobby, then you need a different hobby. I had a friend of mine who is not a DBA player, and I've been hounding him to try DBA. So he goes to one of these shows. This is many years ago. This could have been 15 years ago. It was a while ago. One of these shows, and plays this game that's put on by somebody else. And I'm playing against him. And this is a person I've played games with before. They have a really good attitude. This friend of mine, and he plays in this game, and this guy that's on his side, it gives him such a hard time about playing the game that it turns him off from ever trying it again. And it's like, I'm never going to forget that. I'm never going to forget that this particular individual was, and this person's that way all the time. I think they have some personal issues that are going on with his life. One of those people that have something, there's always something going wrong with them, and then when they're not around that issue, they take it out on anybody else. Like, for example, I had one guy that worked for me that had a really bad attitude all the time, and I started putting two and two together. And I think what the issue was is, when we were hiring him, he filled out the application. The application he filled out was grabbed by his wife. So it's almost like he didn't want the job. And it almost seemed like when he went home, he was henpecked all the time. And I'm not saying he has to be the man, but if you got somebody who's always getting a bunch of crap at home, doesn't matter whether it's the guy or the girl, yeah, they're going to take that crap out on everybody else in the workplace. And that's how it was. And this particular individual and playing DBA might be that same way. He has a crap life or he has personal issues or whatever, and he brings that to the game table. And, you know, this hobby, man, should be all about camaraderie and having a good time, not turning people off. And especially when it's a guy on his own side. It's not like the guy was being uber competitive and had to win or something. Uh, oh, well. That's a person that doesn't play very often. Uh, I don't like when people get turned off from the hobby because of a certain person. I mean, literally, like their first foray into it, and like that happens. And after, I don't know, I think I did a count the other day. It was like 150 different people I've ever played over, let's just round up to 20 years in DBA. And about four of them, I don't care if I ever played them again. So I think that's saying something. The attitude of people's pretty good. Okay, there's that. Since I'm lazy and I already have it here, we're going to go ahead and use this same color for the reins. Similar color for the reins. Yeah, what do I so sleepy? Man, I woke up at 5, sure, but man, I went to sleep like before 10. That's a lot for me. You don't like playing very competitive people or people with really bad armies. Huh? You mean you don't like playing somebody who has an army that's not very good? Huh. I don't know. I think our group is really competitive, but it's not win at all costs. I like to get milk out of a brick when I'm playing this game, but I don't care that much if I lose. I don't mind losing any of these folks. I have lots of times, and I will again. But, the more games I play, the least each defeat is important to me. you know? the more you get beat, the the more of a callus you've developed for it. It's just not that important. Some of my more memorable battles have actually been losses. I think we use this for the no worst case is undercoated figures on play. Oh, really bad looking armies. Yeah, I see. Really bad looking armies, like not putting any effort into them. Yeah, might as well play a video game at that point. I think that's only happened to me like one time playing DBA. Somebody showed up and they didn't finish the army. What we would do is we would just morph the figures. They ended up just using the army with like the stands weren't painted and it was haphazard. It only happened to me one time. And it happens a lot in Warhammer and other things like that, but really in DBA it's only happened not one time, but that one individual who I don't think paints anymore. Oh. Why am I yawning? Why am I falling asleep? Man. And that's a huge problem in other games. I don't know if it's a problem or they just accept it, but it doesn't make any sense to me in Games Workshop stuff that's really, really expensive. Why wouldn't you paint those? You went through all the trouble of buying them. Spend so much time and effort painting my troops. I want the game to look good. Absolutely. Mr. Cog, you're back again. Back again for some more. Don't forget to go on your bike ride before everybody's on the road. I have a stationary bike. That's been pretty helpful too. And that'll have to wait till Tuesday. Today's a chock full day with things to do. After this, very competitive. I mean, people who want to win at all costs, who will argue the rules. That's just, you need to follow them home and take them out. Yeah, that's a person issue. That person's that way with everything. Some people just like to argue. They just can't afford to go to law school, I guess. I don't know. I'm not one of those people. I don't care. I don't care if people don't come around to my way of thinking. I won't come around to theirs. Okay, let me go get a refill on this weak ass coffee, I guess. And I'll bring that thing from the garage. I want to show you guys. Be right back. Okay. I lied. I didn't want more coffee. I'm starting to. I'm starting to not enjoy coffee as much as before. I drink it really only for the caffeine. I'm gonna have a Coke Zero instead. Oh, it's much better tasting. All right. So off camera, I worked on something yesterday, and that was Mitch's castle here. And I thought I took a picture of what it looked like before. It looked like crap. Not like he painted it. This is just how it came. It was similar color, just this all around. So we did some dry brushing on it, and obviously used a cheap brush because there's a lot of little. I can show him on this, and he won't know about it because he's a slacker and doesn't check out the channel. He's busy working today. Joke's on you, pal. I know. He'll be laughing tomorrow when he's off. Okay. Take those extra little bits, but when I picked this thing up from him, I know that those of you in the old country, well, it's not my old country, but your old country, the UK. I don't have any UK relatives, but I saw this that he had, and it totally reminded me of a Welsh-style castle. I know it's not anyone in particular, but just that type of style, some kind of a fantasy thing, and so I pulled one up off the internet, pictures of Welsh castles, and tried to use a similar color scheme to paint that. But we got this thing that's sitting here in the middle. I don't know if you can see it right here in the courtyard. Almost looks like that tree from Game of Thrones. I don't know how old this is. I bet this is at least 30 or 40 years old that he had this, but it's a semi-destroyed thing here. And I'm sure it was something like from the dollar store, really, really cheap, but I figured I'd paint that thing up. Been looking for a castle or something like that. Can't find anything for less than $40. You gotta just come across it. Yeah. And good morning, Marco. You have two Acropolis and ruins that work pretty well. Yeah, so not much to this. Yeah, paint that as a tree. I don't know why they have a tree growing in the middle of a castle, but what else could that be, right? So we'll do that off camera as well. This isn't extremely exciting, but this is just dry brushing, craft paints. I tried to match the color scheme. I'm not sure that I love how it turned out, but we got some groundwork and stuff that we can put out here. But we're not done with it yet, but this is most of it. It looks like an aquarium model. It really does, but it's solid completely. So I don't know what the intended purpose of this was. I didn't buy it. Mitch just had it at his house, and like I said, it's 40 years old or something like that. So anyhow, this is we'll see this in battles or whatever. If I'd worked on my feudal English army instead of these guys, then maybe we would have an appropriate type BOA for that. Greta Thunberg insisted that the tree be placed there. Is that little Swedish kid, huh? I don't know that I've even seen any of her feeds. Oh well. Some people are dying for their 15 minutes of fame. I don't know anything about her, but I'll take her over. What's that little bastard? I know it doesn't narrow it down. I've forgotten all about him. Oh man, that's gonna bug the hell out of me. David Hogg. Is it David? Is his first name? That Hogg kid from South Florida. Screw that guy. All right. Enough of petulant children. And that's why spanking needs to come back into common use. Oh, aquarium train's great. Unfortunately, sometimes it's too big. Um, I have um, two BUAs. I've got my Hindu Indian one and one of my medieval German castle things that are aquarium terrain. But unfortunately, with them, they'll end up having like holes in it where you don't want a hole. Which is it's fine having a hole if it's damaged, but then you have to build the damage, and who has time for that? So what I ended up doing was going inside and taking some masking tape and pushing it in from the inside, and then taking filler and just filling it, and then putting that's a place where like vines grew, and that worked well because I'm not going to go in there and like etch the little things to fill it in because even if I could do it, which I can, I can't match this. So it worked pretty well for that. Um, yeah, petulant children. It's a company in Australia called Kazoo. Okay, some of their stuff originally well made for aquarium stuff. Kazoo. Okay. Ah, screw that. I'm looking it up. That's what we have a computer over here for, right? Okay. Kazoo aquarium terrain. Google is your friend. Huh. This stuff isn't made in China, is it? Because I can't buy it then. I can't. I can't. If my life depends on it, I can. But if it's something I don't have to have, oh, this thing's cool. What is this? Oh, this is like a Stonehenge type thing. Oh, that's cool. Nice. Yeah, I go into pet stores. I have no pets, and PayPal Army. I love it. Yeah. Hey, you better pay. You better PayPal me some money, or I'm gonna excommunicate you, right? I heard that eBay was not going to accept PayPal anymore. Was That's how it was told to me. And then I think what it is if you're an eBay seller, they I don't know. I'm not making things up, but I don't know exact details, so I don't want to send everybody. But there was going to be a. They originally were owned by the same people, and then that fell apart 6, 7 years ago, something like that. And now they're. It wasn't going to affect those of us that I use PayPal a lot to pay a lot. That's my preferred method of paying for things. The intermediary, that way they don't have access to my stuff directly. So, something about they weren't going to be able to transfer your funds through PayPal or something like that if you're a vendor. I think that's what it was. So then you're going to have to get eBay your bank information, which, I'm not too keen on doing that. But I don't really sell anymore. I've like sold everything that I plan on selling on eBay. I've sold a lot, but I've gotten rid of all the things I don't need anymore. So I don't foresee selling anymore. I don't really buy anymore either. So you mix all terrain, to be honest, and two kinds of paper craft up here. Make a sturdy base, add paint, varnish. Yeah. I've seen some paper models that look really cool. There's a company called, what's the name of this company? It's a paper company. The guy comes to Historicon all the time, and I bought a Russian village from him in 20 millimeter scale. I know 20 millimeters not a scale, but you know what I mean. And never put it together. It's well done. I don't know if it'd be kind of flimsy, but I wish they made Asian buildings in 6 millimeter, and then you could have an Asian village. But I actually have plans to build one. I have a Asian walled city that started, but it's just, if I'm doing that, I'm not doing this, so I can't be everywhere. And just to be clear, I don't mind building a Chinese army or a Chinese city, but I just don't want it to buy something that comes from there. This is not the people, it's not the history, it's just what those sons of bitches are doing to everybody right now. So I love Asian armies. I love Chinese armies. They're cool. They're really, really cool. But there's a company on Etsy. I believe this guy's in Slovenia. Slovenia or Croatia. I think he's in Slovenia. And he makes little pewter miniatures of like little castles. And they're really, really small. I mean, they're like maybe 2 millimeter. They may even be smaller than that. And DBA, you don't need the terrain to be in the same scale of the figures. And I've came close to picking some up, but I haven't done that because the shipping is just too much. I don't need to spend $50 on that. By the time I include shipping, you know, I just I just kind of felt bad for spending it, so I didn't. But China is cool, just less keen on their current management team. That's exactly the problem right there. Yep, I agree with you. I like all the Chinese history and all that stuff, but you know, I'm not giving them more power by. I'm going out of my way to not buy their products that are made there. So I switched out the headlamps on my new car. It did not have LEDs, and I specifically went out of my way to find a company that did not manufacture their products there. And I found one, and they weren't ridiculously expensive or anything. I replaced my headlamps when I pulled them out. The ones that were there, the head bulbs were made in China. So that's a few less Chinese parts in my vehicle. Which honestly, I was surprised. I mean, the entire vehicle is supposedly manufactured in Japan. I mean, that's not why I bought it. It just happened to be manufactured in Japan. And I thought those two didn't really trade together, you know? But what do I know? Maybe everybody's involved. Maybe they're involved in everybody's stuff, but I went to the hardware store the other day to pick up a part to reach the bolt that I needed to. You'd think changing out headlights is really easy. Yeah, well, when you have to move a bunch of things out of the way to get to them, which was that you didn't used to be the case, but I bought an extension for a ratchet. One of those like I think it's 10 inches or 12 inches or whatever, so you can get down to where it needs to go. Everything worked fine, but there was a needle file set right next to it, like perfectly scaled for this stuff. It was at Lowe's. I went to Lowe's, and I'm like, that's pretty cool. Flipped it over, made in China, put it back down. Don't need it. I'll get one. I'll get one when it's not made there. It can be made anywhere except China and any of those other terrorist states. Anywhere else is fine. So I'll come across one if I need one. I don't need one that bad that I've got a mail order or anything. I'm like, well, I'm already here. I don't have any other than this old thing, which you can't really use for a figure. Pico terrain for 2 and 3 millimeter structures are irregular. Yeah, I hear you, Dirk. And it's a shame because it's not the people there. Well, it's not at least 90% of the people there. They're in a bad situation too. I mean, I know my dad left Cuba in 1960. So, you got anything nice to say about communist states, don't come to my channel. You're going to get no traction here. Or other dictators, you know. But yeah, I won't be going there. Luckily, I don't have to go to those countries. There's many, many countries in the world I have no intention of going to, but yeah, you got to be careful. I don't talk about work, for instance. It's not that exciting. I'm not defined by what I do for a living. I know lots of people are. You ever encounter somebody that you know, maybe they're your neighbor or something like that, and the only thing they ever will talk about is what they do for a living? I just can't imagine that. Like, reliving all the hell that you go through every week. I mean, it doesn't mean I don't give a shit about my job. I mean, I want to do a good job while I'm there, but, it gets to a point where, things aren't going to turn out as well as you'd like them to. So you just kind of have to forget about it. There's a lot of uncontrollables, and yeah, I don't want to relive that stuff. I know lots of people that are that way. All they do is talk about what they freaking do for a living, and it's okay if they're somebody that you work with, but man, like I don't talk about this hobby with people on the street 'cause they don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Okay, so I don't know. People infatuated with their jobs don't have hobbies. Life needs balance. I agree with you. What about the rutabaga surplus? What did somebody in the UK call them? Swedish, a Swedish potato, a Swedish something. Swedish turnip, I think is what they call them. I can't say I've ever eaten one. I just don't like. I don't like how the name sounds. It just sounds like something you don't want to put in your mouth. You know what I'm saying? It's just not very attractive. It's a vegetable type thing, so I would have no problem eating it. The only thing I was scarred as a kid was when I was under 6 years old. My mom passed away when I was 4, so my dad was just kind of trying to raise me with a couple of grandmothers. So it wasn't like he was out alone or anything. And I apparently didn't eat a lot, which I can't imagine. I mean, those were the days. So I was really skinny, and they gave me canned beets. You know those beets that came in a can. They come in that syrup or whatever that is like magenta colored, and it'll stain anything. And I freaking hated those things because you know. But I'm sure real beets, I probably would like the. I've had real beets; it tastes fine, but it was just those particular ones in that format. That's I imagine a rutabaga being like that, but It's a vegetable, so they're not really it's not gross. It's just, I don't know. There's my beet story. Keep hobbies and work very separate. Hmm. Most of my friends don't know what I do for a living. I try not to talk about the outside work. I'm a technical editor, so nothing fancy. Okay. Get one from the market for Mitch. Mitch works at a grocery store. He can pick one up himself. He's, uh, he's the one that chops, you know, if I need to murder somebody, he can chop them into bits for me and package them. That would not be a good job for me. I don't. That kind of stuff could scar me. Like I like meat. I don't like meat that bad where I need to do all that chopping up stuff. Oh man. Yeah, I know lots of people that just are all about work, 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 and I can't even. I'm not even able to check my email, my work email from home. I know there's a way to do it. I don't want to know how. There needs to be separation. You need to decompress. Therapy. That's what this is. And then people at work, when they found out what I do for my hobby, they're like, "I don't think you had the patience for this." And it's like, well, you don't understand. When I do this, everything goes right. Okay. I mean, even when I make a mistake painting and it doesn't turn out how I want to, I can fix it and I make it right and I'm happy with the results. That's the polar opposite of work. Okay, where everything goes wrong, no matter how long how not everything, but many things go wrong because they're out of my control. You know. So yeah, this is everything good happens here. This is a happy place. Did I see the Portlandia sketch on Beats? No, I don't know what Portlandia is. It must be a show. I don't know. I'm deep diving hot. Okay. Why shouldn't my cantata have a Leonardo tank? No, it's a perfect element to add to that. Absolutely. Sparkle Pony. Well, I got a story for you guys. It's not that exciting, so, simmer down. My stories aren't that exciting. I'm sorry. There's just there's too many interesting individuals living on the edge a lot more than I am. But so I go pick up my daughter from swimming practice yesterday, and we go grab a bite to eat, and we go to this place called Tropical Smoothie. It's a chain. They have sandwiches and they have smoothies and everything. It's a relatively healthy place, and we're waiting for our food there. And this mother comes in with their daughter. I'm thinking it's her daughter, because you never know. But she was dressed up like an anime character in full getup with umbrella. She had a backpack that was shaped like a turtle. It was like a stuffed animal turtle, and it was wearing a mask. And I thought that was really weird. It's like, why is your stuffed animal backpack wearing a mask? But whatever. I mean, I didn't confront him or anything. I'm just like, look at that over there. But she was dressed up just like an anime character, which was strange. I know the town's getting too big when you're starting to have you know odd people sightings like that more and more often. But then this other guy came in here and he looked like a gangbanger, and he was wearing My Little Pony leggings. Just really weird. I guess some My Little Pony, but demonic. I don't know what it is. I don't. I don't know what's going on with the youth these days. Yep, Gainesville's turning into a big city. Weirdo sightings more often. We're up to about 160,000 people now, I guess. You're so lucky I'm rostered on call, so I have to have the phone and email available 24/7. Yes, but my job is extremely inflexible. So I'm salary and I have a job to do, right? And my job basically involves many things, but one of the things that it involves is checking product as it leaves the plant. And I can't leave until all the product gets loaded and checked. And a couple days a week, I cover for the shop. So it's people that I'm not even in charge of, but I have to stay until they're done. So it's very inflexible. I have to be there by a certain time. I have to leave by a certain time. Can't ever work from home. So because I have that inflexibility, I've just I've never volunteered to do any work from home because it would not change my workload at work. There's guys, for instance, that leave at 4 p.m. Well, I can't come in they're like, well, I come in at 5 a.m. 5 a.m. I said, well, I can't leave whenever I want to, so I'm not going to come in at that early time. I'd like to see my family in the morning before I go to work. So it's give and take. You know, um, there's some things I pretty much I'm pretty inflexible on. Like I'll always take a lunch. I remember one time many years ago, there was so many things going on, and my boss at the time, the owner of the company, was wondering why I was going to lunch at 2:30. I said, "Well, things keep things kept happening, and I couldn't leave before then." And he just like was like angry that I had waited until 2:30 to take a lunch. So instead of saying thanks for covering, you like kind of chewed me out. I'm like, okay, well, screw you then. I'm gonna take my lunch by a certain time. That's not called positive reinforcement. So you don't have to tell me twice. But it doesn't mean I don't try to do a good job while I'm there. It feels good to do things correctly, you know. But yeah, I'm not interested in checking emails and stuff. I fortunately don't think about the place when I'm not there. So like I don't remember what the hell's happening tomorrow when I get back. I know that I took care of it on Friday before I left, so I'm not worried about it. But those of you that are working from home, hopefully you have some flexibility. I don't have the flexibility, so I'm not going to work from home. I was a goth in the 90s. Really? Huh. Now holding neat and tidy is my edgy counterculture. Really recommend Sword and Spear for your more detailed DBA experience, by the way. I had a crack at To the Strongest. I wasn't strong enough, but I always miss the simplicity. I'm getting really tired of the conforming crap, you know. I keep saying I'm going to delve into something else, but don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. The most extreme thing that I can think of that I would do is we just come up with our own set of rules that are DBA like, but they'd be better. They'd also be free, and they would also use the same army list as DBA 3.0, so that you have to buy Phil Barker's stuff. And unlike other rule sets, I would give him credit because at the end of the day, he is the inspiration. Whether you like the guy or not, I don't have a problem with him. I think we like the rules more than he does, honestly. But and would be nice if we could make them easier for new players to understand. But that's the most extreme thing I can think of that we would do. But I'd keep the army list the same. 'Cause that's most people's problem is they don't want to rebase their army. I get it. I got a lot of time invested in them, but And that may happen in 20 years. I mean, it's not like I'm dying to do that. I've mentioned it before. I'm not interested in really working on rules. I want to keep making funny accents and figuring out what armies to build and paint and that kind of stuff. That's my interest. That just creates work. I got plenty of work as it is, so. But I could see that happening sometime down the road in the next quarter century. There, I'm covered. But yeah, you got to give people credit where credit's due, man. And not take somebody's work and charge for it. There's another set of rules out there that does that. And no, they're not. And no, it's not the set of rules that has the exclamation point in it. I was very disappointed to see that. But hey, that's their prerogative. I don't play that set of rules because nobody in my area plays them, and but it's a bit blatant, you know. But that's the most extreme thing I could see doing. You know, I'm always going to play some DBA type game, scaled game. You know, where I can paint 50 figures or less and then move on to a different nation. I don't see that changing ever. I keep tinkering with wanting to go back into World War II, but there's just not a whole lot of value for the amount of time I'm going to spend on it. So, I used to wear so much hair gel in the 90s that my hair was basically a helmet. Yep. Thing I hate about those products is you'll find a product you like and they discontinue it. Same thing happens with deodorant. I was using a particular brand of deodorant because I liked how it smelled. You know, not that that was the only one that worked on me. They all work. It just and they just discontinue it. Same thing with the hair gel, man. I was going through different hair gels that I use so little product in my hair now, but yeah, they'd discontinue one or they wouldn't carry it anymore. Conforming rules only make sense if you got some heavy charge component to your unit that they can't reform because of impetus. You won't rebase your armies. I don't blame you. Otherwise, the corner edge is within however many paces the enemy corner edge overlaps. You should just be able to align them. I've thrown all my basing conventions out the window. Mark, not worth the sweat between systems. 40 square, 25 movement trays, any scale now. I had to rebase some of my. I didn't have to. I chose to rebase some of my armies for 3.0. So I had taken some foot knights, and not only was I use epoxy to glue these boogers down, and not only was I able to pop them off, I was able to reuse the stands. It actually wasn't that difficult, but it's wasted time. You know, who wants to spend time fixing an army when you can be building a new one? Which is why I have 6 armies or so that aren't going to be converted to 3.0 anytime soon. They're just going to require a lot of effort. So, Marco, you mentioned the Acropolis earlier. Over Christmas, we went to Nashville, Tennessee, and they have that life-size Acropolis there. And of course, what I really wanted to go is I wanted to go in the gift shop because there's got to be something cool, right? Nothing. What a waste. What a waste. That was the lamest gift shop for the coolest subject matter ever. I'm so disappointed. I've got a little Acropolis here somewhere, but My poor Athenians, I only have 4 figures painted for them. Mitch showed up and had all the Greek armies, so I stopped, but I love playing the Athenian army. I pulled stats off them the other day. I'm like 12-2 or something with them, something crazy. So, but I'm a fan of I'm a fan of Spear. So let's paint this guy's helmet, and then we'll null all this thing. So you didn't like To the Strongest, huh? I don't know. There's videos for that on there. There's videos for Sword and Spear on there. Sword and Spear, I think, has the issue of army list, right? Doesn't have a ton of army list. I know you can convert them to the strongest. Seems like To the Strongest. Then I got to buy a grid. That would solve a lot of problems, I guess. But I don't know. It seemed like it would end up playing a lot like Command and Colors without the card activation. I don't know. But that's handy because you just put your whole unit inside the square, whatever it is. I think that type of system would work really well for Renaissance because you've got a square, then it's like this big. Say like each movement area is this big. So if your unit fits inside of that, in other words, doesn't go all the way to the edges, you have some white space around it before it hits the other unit. So you would have your pike and shot formations that there'd be a little gap between them, and it would look more realistic. Um, Oh, okay. It was too complex and abstract. Yeah. I want a game that's less abstract. I think DBA is too abstract for me. Says the person that's played 2,000 games of it. Well, it's still a good game. It would be better if it was less abstract for me. Um, yeah. But even TTS makes system less on pacing because my units are bigger than half a. Yeah, my problem with DBA is it just doesn't. When I'm done playing a battle, especially one that has a lot of cavalry, I don't feel like I've been moving cavalry units around. And it was even worse in 2.2. It was even worse, that feeling. It could be better. Everything's there. It just could be. It just. I feel like it just need to be taken to the next level. Um, I want to give Impetus a try. I have the rules. I bought them. I downloaded them. I printed them. They're beautiful. I like that some units are 12 elements and some units are 8, and some of them are 11. Some units, some countries, some nations. And I've mentioned before that if I decided to try that, what I would do is because Impetus, the units are like 4 times bigger than DBA. You could, use them, and I would just, oh man. So they're twice as deep, and they're twice as wide. So instead of having a unit that's this size, the unit would be one stand here, one stand here, one stand behind it, one stand here. So you got 4 would create, say, a unit of skirmishers. So the easiest thing is just say, okay, since it's twice as wide and twice as deep, how about you just have all the ranges for everything, have the movement, have the distance, have the size of the board, and then just play with one unit as one, like DBA. So when I give it a shot, that's how I'm going to play it. Now, the board may be a lot smaller, but that's how I'm going to give it a shot if I do that. But I hear it doesn't have pips, so damn, you know? Okay, Marco, have a good day. Don't forget your boots. I know you already have them on. Love fantastic battles could be adapted easily. With Neil Thomas' ancient medieval war game, it's about 8 units of 4 bases and adds wounds, armor, and psychological elements. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, DBA does a lot of things really well. Probably the two things it does the best: keeping both players invested in every combat. They both have to roll, and with the pip mechanisms, almost every turn you have meaningful decisions to make. Unlike, say, a naval war game, where they can be fun, but most of the time it's either really obvious what you need to do, or you don't have that many reasonable choices to do. So, real Neil Thomas. Interesting. I think DBA could use more detail in the combat differentiation between armors. Like there should be different knights. They don't have to be dramatically different, just different. Add a little bit more seasoning to what you're concocting. All right, I need a strap color, and I think I know what color I want. It's just not down here yet. Yeah, US Field Drab. That one should be okay. I gotta pick a design for the next night. I feel like he should be a red-based guy. Not a lot of green in these armies. White, black, red, yellow, blue. For the most part. I really want to try Mortem et Gloriam Pacto. But I want to try them. I don't want to just grab them and try to suffer through the rules and possibly get them wrong. The Pacto version, so you got a DBA similar sized game. I heard some good stuff about that rule set. It's all about meaningful decisions. If the game's on autopilot and all you're doing is rolling dice, well, that's not as much fun. The number of games of DVMM, DBA hot that I haven't enjoyed, I can count on one hand. Every game is exciting. I would agree with you. I would completely agree with you. And one of the reasons is that they're over quick compared to everything else. So if you're dealt a bad hand, you don't have to suffer for it for half of a day. And because, at least in DBA, you have 12 elements. And as long as you lose about a third of your army, the game's not over. The game's over when you lose a third of your army, which is honestly pretty low amount. Well, what that does is if somebody's beating you badly, they're not that far ahead of the game where you don't have a chance to catch up and possibly win yourself. And I think that's kind of it's kind of a little secret that is not readily thought about right off the bat. Is if somebody's about to win and you haven't killed anyone, they're not that far ahead of you. They've only killed 3 elements and you haven't killed any. So, as Luke would say, so you're saying there's a chance. That's exactly what I'm saying. There's a chance. And that's really nice. That's really nice. And I think pretty unique. Most games you have to kill a much larger amount or than just a third of the army. And obviously, I know what the rationale is between them. There's other casualties in there that you're not aware of as the army commander. I got it. But from a player standpoint, you're still in it. You know, every game finishes close-ish, generally. So, green was supposed to be unlucky? What? You know, so I'm thinking, I'm always fascinated by those of you guys in the UK and your relationship between the the countries within there. The relationship between Scotland and England and Wales and the Irish, and I'm always fascinated by that because I don't have any of that ancestry, and I think it's funny. It would be the equivalent of people from Florida, Georgia, Mississippi, and Alabama getting into a feud ish. And in doing my Irish army, one of the things that I found out was that the traditional Irish color was yellow because of some sun deity. I've got to find out where I found that from, but before Christian times, that was one of the carryovers. Is their color was yellow, and in the English language, they have that whole "you yellow bastard," and I'm wondering if I'm sure it comes from the color of cowardice and all that. I'm sure it comes from the English kind of giving the Irish that moniker so that because they had to fight them. And I believe Henry VIII, I read somewhere, that outlawed them using the color yellow. So what did he do? Let them use green? And then green, well, we'll let you use green because green's unlucky. It's like they still got them. I'm just wondering how many of those things are kind of worked into the psyche of the English language that we're not even aware of, that's actually has some interesting things in there. But yeah, I'm sure that's where that yellow bastard comes from. People being cowards and stuff like that. Well, this guy's got a big chicken, so there's a reason for him being yellow bastard. But hey, this is real heraldry. I didn't make this guy up. All right, let's do a little bit more of this, and then we're about done with this guy. Oh, we got to do the back of the saddle thing. Yeah, I'm always fascinated about that relationship between all the nations. I think, is nations the correct terminology to use? Yeah, it's not a county. Wales is a nation. Got to be. So, yeah, all the nations of Britannia, the British Isles, I should say. and how people live there have their favorites. Yeah, I would too if I was from there, I'm sure. And don't worry, you guys are pre-feudal Scots fans. We'll be doing the pre-feudal Scots army soon. I was kind of bummed that I found out about this guy. They were really towards the top of the. They were very likely to be the next army, the pre-feudal Scots. But I found out about this litter. I'm like, we got to show people a litter. We got to show there's going to be some litter antics, and who doesn't want to move a pope around? That sounds like a lot of fun. Okay, I think we're done with this guy. Oh, I'm an idiot. I know. Tell you something you don't know. I got to put the Null oil on this guy. Then we'll have to set him aside for that to dry a little bit. Humans. Comes from fairy knights dressing in green and got angry with humans wearing their colors. Fairy knight. Are fairy knights faster? Because they're light on their feet? The Green Knight. Speaking of the Green Knight, is it? It's that Robin Williams movie that I haven't seen in a long time called. The one where he plays a homeless guy in Central Park. The Fisher King. Yeah, I need to watch that again. I remember seeing that in the movie theater way back in the day. Circa 1990 or 1991 or something like that. Oh, I hear mumbling. We have people afoot. People are afoot. Okay. We're gonna let that dry a little bit before we go and mess with that some. DBM, my favorite. Big battles and lucky evens out more. However, you can still play DBM 100, which is DBA's. DBA that troops can be superiority faster too. Saloy shooting's been tried, slows the game down. Those are my only big grievances because, frankly, most rule sets I've read don't have the elegant simplicity of DBA. Hey, we always use the hot conforming rules. My rules would have light horse and Saloy shooting. It might only be half a base width. It might be really, really short distance, but new players need that to wrap their head around what's really going on. And honestly, I still was, you know, hey, we could try it. And then it realized that, hey, it doesn't work either. you know, um, again, not really in the market to do that kind of thing right now. Okay, I think we need a little bit of metal to do a tiny little bit of controlled dry brush that may have been missed in certain places. And then I'm going to do a check-in with the people that are awake, and hopefully I will be back. Whatever the hell that means. And Nolan oil dried fast. We can go ahead and trim this. And we'll hopefully start next night, which hopefully will be red. Or it will have some red in it. It doesn't need to be predominantly red. That's not working out too well. Let's grab this here. I, okay, I'll be right back. back at it again. Oh, oh man, what do we have here? Holy cow! All right, let's see. Catch up here. So the trying. Fairies wear boots. Okay. Yes, light horse are better. Huns, Mongols, etc. are very competitive. Light horse should be able to caracole style shoot and evade, and Saloy should at least be able to shoot when in their preferred ground. But let's not let perfect be the enemy of good. The only contender that's still simple is Neil Thomas. The army lists aren't as good. I wonder if you can use DBA army list with that. I'll have to check that out. Neil Thomas. I'll write that. We'll do some surfing on here. Neil Thomas rules. I mean, you can make your own army list. So the question is, you don't want to be opening up that thing where it's like you can't let everybody make army lists because you guys know there's people out there with agendas, and Sword and Spear is similar. Fantastic Battles is one of the most fun in terms of random events, but again, they aren't sleek. Oh, we love random stuff. We really like that whole DVM thing. Like, okay, it's the Poles versus the Teutonics. Oh, we know what's going to happen. Oh shit, it's raining. We don't know what's going to happen in this battle. Yeah, we like stuff like that. Anytime you're over the ditch, I'll set up a game for you. I'm going to guess that the ditch is whatever that ocean between New Zealand and Australia is. Well, if it's between us and Europe is the pond, that's definitely the ditch. That would be appropriate. I don't know who would be worse on a desert island. Our prime minister not giving a damn or yours caring so damn much. Oh, I don't know about us. I don't know about politics in other countries. Sorry. Um, I'm busy stealing successful New Zealanders for Australia. That's our secret bubble. Oh man. DBA lists will work for most things. They will. Yeah. I have Dirk. I have all the DBM lists. You probably already heard me say that. I gift them to myself for Christmas. I actually had book four, but I had the DBM list before because I want the extra detail. I'm like, okay, you can have a light horse or a crossbowman. Okay, well, when? I wish that DBA had all those things like you could only use one at a certain period. Limit you a little bit, but yeah, of course I reference. It's the same author. It makes sense. I just wish. I remember when we played DBA 2.2. Okay, we played DBA 2.2, and the attitude always seemed to be that, at least with the way it was written, was almost like I couldn't stand playing like an eight crossbowman unit. It behaves the same as a regular bowman unit. But when you get to play DBM, when you're a big boy and put your big boy pants on and decide to play DBM, then you'll get all the extra bells and whistles and differentiation between them. It's like, well, what about us that are never going to play DBM because there's too many troops or takes too long or we'll have to relearn the system? And we would appreciate the detail. I'm This is by far the most basic game I've ever played in my entire life. I would always, you know, play, tread. I was always a rivet counter and that kind of stuff. But we want to complete games too, in a reasonable amount of time. So, but this is a good old Mithril Silver from 1989. As I like to say, I open it up and go, yep, still smells like Reagan. It's that old. They don't make those bottles like they used to. And I love this. I love their metallics. I really, really do. But yeah, I didn't like that. Maybe attitude is the wrong word, but it's almost, some of us are just never going to play DBM because it's just too many troops. It's every game before playing DBA was always reach across the table, wait for a game. I'm not going to be able to win, but it's still going to take 2 more hours to get through. That's all of the things that DBA is not. So, but yeah, I have all the rules, and I had all the army list and that stuff. I'm an army list junkie. I don't really care for. I'm not a rules junkie where I like to read different rules, but I do like army lists because I'm a painter and creative. So um, I'm probably 70% creator, 30% gamer. If I want to play a game, there's other games I can just go with. War games, those counter war games, with zones and control and stuff like that. We've all played them. I would never play one face to face ever again. A cardboard one. I would just play a digital version that you can say start and everything is set up how it needs to be, because that's just time wasted. It's not that it's not that I dislike those kind of games. I don't dislike them at all. But it's stupid to spend 4 hours setting a game up and then you only play for 4 hours and then you have to write the locations of where everything is so you can put it away. No, no, that's what a computer's for. It does all that stuff for you. So if you guys want to play them, that's fine. It just doesn't. That's just not a good use of time. Not a good use of time, and for me. Okay, Sir Robin is done, or as they call them in the Italian peninsula, Sir Robinetto. Actually, there's a tiny little. I'm going to show you this. See if it comes up on camera. There's a tiny little, almost looks like a slip. This horse has. Okay, there's a little piece, and it's not flash, in between the two front splits, and it looks like there's another like slip underneath it. So I'm actually going to go in there. I'm going to paint that white. And I probably forgot it on the last one, so we're going to paint his white as well. Just a different color so it pops a little bit. Sir Raminetto. I just noticed that. I'm like, I don't remember painting that on the other horse, so. All right, let's bring that up. Yeah, the other rule set I didn't care very much for is when I saw the set of rules, there's a thing that's in DBM. You guys in DBMM, sorry, it may have been in DBM. I wasn't aware of it, but in DBMM, there's a thing called brilliant generals and inert generals, right? And I think I found a list of them online that somebody pirated and put them online. That's not cool, but anyways, they did it anyway. So there was an event that we ran. I don't know why I'm closing this because it's not like I'm going to stop painting, but let me finish this thought while I don't have this in front of me. So check out DBM 100 DBA sized armies with more complexity. Yeah, you just have to run a game for us, Dirk. I think that we would enjoy that immensely. I know we would. I know we would. So I found this pirated copy of an older version. I don't think it's the current version of DBMM. I think it was the first DBMM, which came out in like 2007, something like that, that listed the list of who the inert and brilliant generals. Because I don't want to come up on my own, because I don't have access to all those sources. And let's be honest, Phil Barker did make judgment calls on some things, which you're going to have to do. So the information just isn't available for a lot of these armies. You just have to pull the information out of your nether regions. So does it matter if he pulls it out or I do? Not really. So we'll just go with his word for it. And so this army, this list here would tell you what generals were brilliant in his opinion and which ones were inert. And everyone's always baffled by why King John is considered a brilliant general. Nobody can understand that one except maybe Phil Barker. But anyhow, there's a list of each one of them, because we're going to do it for a tournament. You had to play one of those characters, and you got an extra pip. An extra pip you could use. A reroll on a die or something like that. I think it was a reroll on a die. It was a cool tournament. Everybody enjoyed it. But when I came up with this other set of rules, they also had brilliant generals in their rules, and it's every single general that's the same is in their army list as a brilliant general. So the brilliant general DBM is also a brilliant general, the exact same guy. And well, maybe not. It may not be exactly the same, but I checked like 30, and they were exactly the same guy. So it's like you ripped the guy's work off, and you didn't even give him credit, and you're selling your freaking rules. Like, what plant? Who does that? Somebody who didn't get spanked as a child. That's who doesn't. Who does that? Oh, I still play Kingmaker occasionally. I've never got a chance to play that. Great game with a few whiskeys. Well, isn't that any game? Just add more whiskey, right? Okay, let's take a look at um, just be honorable. There's too many dishonorable people in the world, man. I'm not going to name what rules there. I've said enough. I don't want anybody to get sued. I just want people to, like, dude, be a better person. You don't do things like that. You don't do things like that. You know, I made my little Renaissance mod right off the bat. You got to give Phil Barker credit for DBR. You have to. If you don't, I mean, you're just fooling yourself. You know, if he hadn't created it, I wouldn't be playing this stuff. I'm going to be honest with you. You know, I don't like that he has made the writing, and not necessarily the writing, it's almost the organization of the rules so difficult to digest that his genius is difficult for people off the street to notice. I think I said that correctly. But there's a lot of juicy stuff in there that just gets lost because people are turned off by it being befuddled. You know. Anyhow, um, Italy, 13th century. This is on Merlaton on their shields thing. So let's see what they've got here. Montaperti. Okay, that's not the Ghibellines. So we want to make sure we use Guelph type shields or ones from Bologna. Bologna Knights. Okay, perfect. And we're looking for a red one that has some red in it. Or something different. Here's one that's just a blue squiggly lines. Okay, what are these red ones? There's a couple of red ones here. That one just has diagonal red. All right, that's what we're going to do. We're going to do this diagonal red and yellow thing. All right, so let's find a candidate. This guy will work. This particular figure has these little armored sections here next to the shield. You can see them. They're squares. They're almost like little extra protection. I've seen them have the symbols of the city-state. So I'm going to do a Bolognese knight, and he's going to have the little symbols of Bologna on there, irrespective of what he's actually wearing. So we're going to, yeah. Okay, we're going to start with that because that's a constant, and we know that we're not going to change that. So that's what we're going to start with. And it's just a red cross on a white background. So that's what we're going to start with. Okay. Go with this, and this will probably be fine. All right, let's go back to the feed here, and we all owe Phil Barker a huge debt for years. I've met him once. He's a very nice fellow. I think, and I'll say it again, and I don't mean any ugliness by this. I think we appreciate his game more than he does. Like, I've seen him play, and he just kind of pushes things forward and kind of goes, and we're always trying to dance around and do gamey things and trying to extract more juice out of his game than he plays. But yeah, he's a very nice fellow, and I don't fault him for wanting to write his rules the way he wants to write them. They're his rules. He can do whatever the hell he wants. But for those of us that are trying to recruit more people to our cause, you know, what did we do wrong where we have to be tortured by this, the writing style so much, you know? But we've had more fun playing this game than anything else ever before. So can't fault it too much. How did I get white on me? How does that happen? All right. Coffee. All right, here's our white. Now the black dried up. Well, we don't need much on here. I got nothing bad to say about him. The people say it's his writing style. It's the organization and like lack of punctuation. You need to, you know, talk about one thing in a sentence. Don't mix in a whole paragraph in one sentence. It's not the wording. It's just if you do that and parse it out, I think that's the right terminology. Parse. It becomes a lot clearer. Okay. All right. So before we go in and highlight any more, let's get our red out. This is such a small area. This red will be fine. I tried rewriting DBMM and colloquially. Some people have said that I should make an unofficial guide for DBA. I'm not going to. It's more effort than just creating my own rules. And, you know, and what if my interpretation of what the rules aren't what the author intended? I'm leading everybody astray. That's, you know, nah. I'll save all that effort for if we ever do something on our own. That's just a lot of effort in doing something I'm not particularly keen on doing anyways. So hopefully we'll have some new players come along, have to teach them how to play the game, and we can film that. Those people that are interested in that can learn from that as well. Hopefully we'll get most things right. Unfortunately, we don't. It's just a uphill battle. That's why I don't want to. That's why I don't want to try DBMM on my own. I'll play 100 games wrong. I know it's going to happen. It's completely unintentional and extremely frustrating. We're just going to drop a little red cross in here. Okay, do the same thing on the other side. And then we'll come in here and lighten this up some. Yeah, I can't speak for other ancients and medieval rule sets. I've never played any. I'm new to this, even though I've been doing this for 20 years. I'm still new to this. Show you guys what I got here in a second. This airbrush thinner helps to keep this paint flowing smoother and not gum up as much on your brush. That's what it seems like it's doing. Okay. Hey, look, it's another Scandinavian flag. We were talking about that yesterday. What do we got here? Oh, man. Private Kelly, welcome. I see you on there. I just need to put my glasses on so I can see what's written on here. Good morning. Convince Dermot of Campaign Game Miniatures, who does a huge Napoleon line of 18s, to take on El Cid. Research on the way with his sculptor, El Said. Yep. Does anyone know a good U.S. supplier of DVA armies? I use Essex and UK a lot because they can get some very specific and easily, but I'm tired of waiting so long for stuff to arrive. Noble Knight Games website is tedious and they really lack a lot of small units and special armies. The UK is the number one place to go for British pewter. You said, I read that and I thought of Judas Priest, British Steel. British pewter. That's like what the country version of that. Little or no U.S. makers except GHQ and Navor. Navor's in the U.S.? I thought Navor was in the U.K. as well. Old Glory is the one that's here. Um, there's a company out in. They used to come to Historicon. I believe they're called C&B Miniatures. Um, Yeah, but the Navor ships are out in the UK. Because I know that because the unless they moved, no, they that's a guy that you can't even order on the internet. You have to like call him with a phone number, and he's only available between like 12 p.m. and something. Just really weird hours because they used to carry the 15s that I love. Roundway. They used to carry Roundway. So there's a company out that used to come to Historicon. They're called like C&B Miniatures. They're out in Washington State, and they're supposedly the U.S. importer of Essex. And but I don't know if they have everything in stock. C&B Miniatures. Let's see. It's either C&B or CB. C and B, the ampersand symbol. Okay. U.S. distributor of, and they have version 3 army packs. And I believe they don't charge for shipping. I know that sounds crazy, but it's like built into their price. The reason why is because they can, shipping is always free to customers. That's what it says on their website. Their website is cbminis.com. And I don't know if they carry, I know when they've been to the show, they carry a lot of stuff. It's not like they carry a third of the stock and, oh yeah, we're the supplier. So you might want to give them a shot. They do DBA 3.0 armies. So you might want to check them out. You think you've got problems in the States? I have to wait 3 to 4 weeks. Oh yeah, you got to plan a little bit. Essex ship, well, if they ship slow, it's because of the COVID crap. I know the last thing I got from the UK, I was tracking it, and it sat at freaking Heathrow for freaking a week, trying to get through customs or something, sniffing dogs, or I don't know what the hell it was, but it sat there for a week, you know. But historically, the UK is quicker than the US. I would always get it within. So if you order it on a Monday, you'd get it the following Monday. Sometimes one day earlier. Not that often, but it used to happen. Pretty much across the board. Everybody I've ordered from the UK has been that way. Before, the apocalypse. So post-apocalypse, I don't think it's the vendor. I think it's all the middlemen that, I don't know what it is. So I got nothing bad to say about UK shippers. They apparently are more efficient than the people in this country. We're too busy doing something else. I don't know. Might want to give them a shot, Marco, see if that helps out. And welcome back. You said you left. Liar. Lurker. You guys are always welcome. You guys know it. Okay, so this guy's predominantly red, and he's going to have those. So let's do his shield and see how we can work that into everything. So let's go back to the Baloney Knight. And here we go with the yellow again. A lot of yellow in this army. Does that mean they're cowards? The Bologna Knight. It's the night from Bologna. I'd like to go to Italy, but man, I'll be honest with you, I'm scared of Italian drivers. Those of you guys that have been in Italy, is it true? Is am I overreacting, or I really do need to be worried about Italian drivers? I know Italian ship captains aren't worth a damn, but are Italian drivers any good? Italian cruise ship captains, I should say. Funny story about Navor. Oh, please do tell. He reminds me of a U. I don't know anything about him. I just know this was on his website. It's like you can't order by mail. You have to send him a check or a credit card through a fax, but it's only available like Monday through Friday, or maybe even less restrictive than that, between 12 and 3 p.m. I mean, it's like, okay, fine, you don't want money. There was a vendor here that came to the Historicon. Um, I believe his name was Colonial Connection. And what he used to do is he carried museum miniatures. This is like 2006, 2007. He was there the first year I went to Historicon, and he was there the second time I went to Historicon. So the first time he was there, he was selling figures by the each, which that speaks to my soul. I like buying figures by the each, especially if it's a manufacturer that does not have different poses. That way I can mix them. I can mix them into my heart's desire. Okay. But he would only take cash at a show or a check. Well, I hadn't written a check at that point for like more than 10 years at that point. I don't write checks. That's just stupid. So he wouldn't take PayPal. He wouldn't take a credit card or a debit card. He would only take cash. And if you mail order him, you you couldn't pay with PayPal. Could only send him a snail mail check. So you'd have to send him. And I'm like, okay, so you don't want my business? I'm like, back then, this is 2006. You could pay me with PayPal, and I don't have a business. I don't understand what the problem is. Yeah, they charge you. Okay, so mark everything up 10%. Or you know what? They charge you 10%, mark it up 12. But people want, I'm telling you, I know how people in this country are. They want to pay for something, and they want to either immediately get it, or you start doing whatever you need to do to get it on the way to me. Not like, well, we'll wait 3 or 4 days for that to arrive in the mail, and then a day or two for you to get it from the mail and then open it. And we don't have that kind of time. Okay, we want our stuff right now. Okay, so the way to do that is you pay for it immediately. You get the funds immediately to you. Perfect. You know. But yeah, this guy didn't. So he went out of business. He got out of it or whatever. But it just doesn't work, man. Just take freaking immediate payment. You know. Okay, now boy, I was in the guy's shop. Wow, that sounds like a dream come true. And he spent 40 minutes trying to convince me not to buy anything. I came away empty handed. What is that, a communist or something? Who did. That doesn't make any sense. Thistle and Rose are in the US, no website. You need to find them on Facebook and then get a PDF of their figure list. But Bill Hupp at Thistle Rose is really good to deal with. Yeah, I don't know. I've met him, and I don't understand. You missed the last 10 minutes because somebody was talking to me at work, going back to listen. Well, that's what you get for working on a Sunday, dude. Just give me a sign if we need to come in there and liberate you. Sunday morning freedom commandos. We'll break you out in a moment there, Marco. Hold still. I know, you're probably like Mitch, you got tomorrow off. Not to buy anything, huh? Wow. Some people are, I guess they're, I don't know. Yeah, Italians drive on the wrong side of the road. Oh, come on. That's the only thing they do right. That's not a modern business model for the masses of consumers. Also, an Amway with a secret cassette. Yeah, I met Bill, and it's like, you need a list. You need to be able to make it easy for people to buy your stuff. I mean, why is it so difficult to take pictures of? I can make videos and I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I really don't. I just kind of trial and error. And that's when I started doing these videos. I'm like, well, I'm just going to try them. I have a phone that's capable. They're fun to do. And when they start becoming too much of a pain in the ass, I'll stop doing them. But I don't know. I can't speak for other people. Yeah. I wouldn't be able to handle the other stuff business. Like, okay, well, you got to have all these posters for OSHA and all the other crap that the government throws on top of you. That the whole reason I would never have my own business in this country or probably anywhere else because it would just have too much regulation. But the actual how to make money, dude, I know how to do that. I mean, just freaking pay me and I send things out to you. Like, that's the easy part. That's the part you can't handle. Come on, man. We changed up the red a little bit. I'm gonna go to this one. What, black died again? Man, come on. eBay. I've sold lots of stuff on eBay. The biggest pain of a sale is freaking going to the post office. I've said this again. I ain't going to the post office again. The United States Postal Disservice. I go in there. I've had to mail things out for people, okay? Because we've done a trade or buy something, and I go in there. I can only go during my lunch break because you think bank hours are bad. They're like worse than bank hours, right? So I have to go during my lunch break, which is I also known as holy hour, right? That's the only hour I have to myself during the day that, um, you know, and so I got to go to the post office. I got to do it during my lunch break. So I'm rushed. So I want to get in and out and enjoy the rest of my lunch watching, cat videos or whatever it is that I want to. I don't watch cat videos, but you know what I mean. Just do whatever the hell you want without being interrupted on your break time. And I go in there. So to make their life easy, I said, you know, I don't need confirmation. I don't need insurance, and I don't need any stamps. Here you go. And they still go through the pablum of asking you really slow. Do you want stamps? Do you want it's almost like, okay, their purpose in life is to get through as few people as they can and be inefficient. It's just like, I'm telling you, let me get in and out so you can do whatever the hell else that you do at work, like chit chat with your workmates or whatever, but stop wasting my valuable time. I don't know. And then the whole mask thing now. Now you got this line that goes from the door to freaking Timbuktu, and everybody's, you know, looking like they're on their way to being incarcerated. And, just get me out of here. I'm not going to the post office anymore. You know, that's going to be my new website. It's going to be no postal workers or communists allowed. That's good. Did give me a name of my new site. And I say communist is because nobody out there is supporting the other folks on the opposites. Well, the technically opposite side. They suck too. Okay, but there's people that, at least around here, that like to seem like the communists are. Oh, they just want everybody to be the same. Yeah, they want them to be slaves. So we don't like any dictators. I don't like being dictated to. All right. Get me all fired up. Hey, at least I'm not falling asleep. Navor, crazy guy. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense to sell your soul for a coin. And it also doesn't make any sense to go into business to not sell things. How about some balance there? You wanted Naismith and Ross and Heroics. You had cash. Ross Rokes and Ross won't provide photos for micro armor folks. I wasted money on them. Most of my micro armor friends in the US by GHQ or CNC PFC now carried by Legions for hire in Canada. Yeah. I used to buy a lot of stuff with those two. I used to be in a naval gaming and I had lots of CNC stuff, and some of the CNC stuff isn't great. Some of the stuff is in some ways better than GHQ. Some of their later, they have some later war UK destroyers that look really, really nice. And I use them both together because sometimes one made something, the other one didn't. Those little boxes, those little clicky boxes that they came in. So that's the shield pattern on this guy. That's whatever this Bolognese knight is. Hey, the bologna guy. I don't know how you get bologna out of Bologna. Bologna. Again, nobody asked me. I'm not faxing my credit card information to the UK. First of all, I have no idea how much a fax to the UK costs, and I have no interest in knowing. I mean, we can communicate across the world for free. Why would I want to pay for a phone call? How do you even do that? Okay, it looks really weird. It looks very orangish. Okay, so we're going to bring the yellow up, see how they look together. If not, we can change up the red and use a deeper red. Okay, this is a red called Scarlet, by the way. I just wanted to do a little bit of a variation so we don't have the same color red on everything. All right. Marco, you haven't given me the sign yet. We got Kill Team 7 standing by, coming in liberate you. Those guys that did the No, I, I don't talk about work. This is a little bit that I talk about work. I deal with a transportation type of thing in the construction industry. That's what I do. I do that type of a related thing. So COVID really has not affected my job at all. Fortunately, I live in a world where that's like not even happening. Okay, so it's very strange when I leave work and all the things are happening outside in the world, because at work it's not really affected by anything. But what did affect my job was, like, 2 weeks ago there was that whole fuel hacking thing, which it doesn't really affect us here in Florida because our fuel, unbeknownst to me, comes from the port of Tampa or Jacksonville. But it does affect other people getting into Florida to picking up our freight. So it did have a significant impact on it. I'm surprised that happened. Like, what, and they paid the people off. Like, why can't you find out where those people are and then send a kill team after them? Because what happened to not negotiating with terrorists? They're just going to do it again. I'm not buying that they can't find it, man. They could find all kinds of stuff. Send a kill team after them. Pretend it's the pizza that they ordered, and then come in and there's enough problems in this world, man. Stop creating more problems for us. Jeez, dude. Facts. What the hell is that? Kind of like using Commodore Vic 20 to do Zoom. Exactly. You know what's even worse? Remember that slick paper on that? You couldn't do jack with that. You couldn't even. I think you could write on it with a ballpoint pen if you put it on a cardboard. With that slick and snot paper that would always curl on itself. It's like the world's most evil receipt. You know? No. Yeah. Yeah, you got to make things easy for people to spend money. You got to make it easy for people to just say, "Click, I'll take that," and then and then be sad, 2 days later when they realize that they should have shopped around a little bit more. Take people's money, man. People are coming to your door to spend their money. Take it away from them. Make it easy for them to spend money in your place. You know, close up. Okay, close up. I'm not happy with how it's looking, but I'm not scared because I can handle this. And it's the color of the red. It's way too orangey. That's funny because I've used this one scarlet along with other ones, and it just seems I haven't even added any lightener to it. So we're going to change reds. Actually, we're going to go ahead and do that now so we get an accurate picture. Nah, we're going to finish the yellow. Nothing I can't handle. This reminds me of painting those candy stripes on the front of those Italian ships, 1/2400 scale. Man, I love those Italian ships. They're just gorgeous. Okay, yeah, we're gonna. That's too orangey. Well, I was bound to do something wrong eventually. Not a problem. I eat adversity for lunch. Except it's not lunchtime yet. All right, let's just repaint the whole thing. So we're gonna come in here with a. Yes? Nick. ¿Qué es eso?
I just licked it.
Is this guayaba? Oh man. Okay, can I have this?
Yes.
Okay. I'll be right back, folks. Okay, well, that was an unexpected distraction. Got the wife's out making a guava cheesecake, and there was some of it left on a little spinning thing. It tells you how much I know about cooking. I don't even know what the hell they're called on the mixer things. So guava paste and cream cheese mixed together. Holy hot damn. That's some good shit. Change or die, US business. See MySpace, AOL, and Sears for price examples. MySpace. I never got to see MySpace. I never had AOL. Sears. I never disliked Sears. I never disliked Sears. But department stores, why is it so difficult to, when you go and pay for something, to get out of a department store? Like, see J.C. Penney, okay? I don't dislike J.C. Penney, but go there and try to buy one article, and like there's nobody in line. It like takes you like 8 minutes to make the transaction. Like, why? What is wrong with your system? You need to get people the hell out of your store so more people can come inside. I don't understand why it takes so darn long. And that's with nobody waiting. I just don't understand. I don't dislike the store. I'm just get get me out. All right, here we go. Let's try this again. Hell, I may not like this pattern. We'll just do something different. Not gonna hold me hostage. Okay, we're gonna start with that. And this may not work. Whatever. I gotta do something wrong once in a while. And be able to fix it. Well, that's looking better. We're working it up. Try to even out these bands a little bit. Much better. Now, let's clean this up a little bit by using this thin one. Been busy at work. I love my job. You love your job, pay cut, but inky when I'm here. But only when I'm here. I love my job, but only when I'm here. You don't like your job when you're not there. What? Okay. I like my job. I just don't like the conditions I have to do it under sometimes. So I don't deal well with interruptions. And I keep thinking this, if I had a saying that would define my work, my job at work, it would be this. Get the fuck off my critical path. There's an order of things that are priority. And just because you come to my office doesn't mean that that's what needs to happen next. I actually don't get to dictate what happens next. You just kind of have to, you know? It's like, okay, not everything is equally important. Some things can wait and some things have to be dealt with immediately. No, get the hell off my critical path. I don't dislike what I do. I just dislike what conditions I have to do it under sometimes. Like if I have a rainy day, it's really bad. If it's a lightning day, it's a nightmare. I'm not going out in lightning. You know, I don't get paid enough to deal with lightning. Sorry. If I'm going to get killed today, it's not going to be at work. You know what I'm saying? So, okay. Planning. I got to do planning stuff, and invariably something goes wrong. Something has to change. I have to redo everything. Just frustrating. But lately, the days at work have been going by really fast, so that's good. I just figured let's just make the next 20 years go fast, and then we can put the handbrake on. Mike B, welcome. Thank you. I don't think this one looks as good as. How about the other two? I don't know if you just come in here. Let's take a look at the two Italian nights that are complete. And these are old. Obviously, these are the lances are replaced with pens. These are old. They don't. I'm telling you, see how the folds on this guy they look like. It doesn't look that good. Just wait till you have the sealant on it. Like the magic happens. Because I've been like this. I've been like, yeah, they look all right. They don't look that great. And then you end up sealing them and like, oh, you know, I don't know what it is. It's amazing. So, yeah. This is actual heraldry of someone from this period. Some Italian guy from this period. Yes, I assumed his gender. I'm taking it's not, you know, Joan of Arc. Anybody else is, almost everybody else is going to be a person of the male persuasion on horseback. We still have some vestiges of red in here. Let's get this a little washing here. Let's get something I don't use hardly enough. This stuff right here. Vestiges of red. Are you cutting the sharp pinheads? No, I am sanding them down. And so here's what I do. So here is just a metal file. And let's say I wanted to use this needle. I've already done this to this for safety. This is totally for safety. Okay. The nice thing about pins and needles is they come to a point. Yes, they don't have a shaped spear thing, but they do come to a point, so they taper. So you just take this, say this is really sharp, and just go like this. And that's it. You won't poke through your skin. Now, if it's on the ground facing your troops and you trip and fall on them, well, you know, all bets are off. But this is, you know, you're not going to poke yourself inadvertently. And it works really well for me. The first army I did this on was my Armenians, and I've had them for almost 20 years and never had a pin break. It works really well for me. So, lots of people are scared. You know what's actually pretty scary? When you use like the metal rods, like Old Glory and stuff sometimes comes with metal rods. So if you looked at it under a microscope, that the end of the metal rod is actually like cut, so that will go in through your skin and stuff, so it's actually pokey. So I know some people what they've done is they actually put it in a vise and then just beat on the end with a hammer. Well, I don't know if it's exactly a vise, but they beat the end on with a hammer to flatten it, and then they come in with and then cut the edges so it has a little bit of a point. But by the time you do all that, you're still going to end up having to do this thing at the end, or you're going to go through your skin. So I know the Zyston ones are really popular. I can never seem to get a hold of them, so I've just given up on having any. I just make my own. I just go to Joann Fabrics. I'll be the only dude that walks in there, and they're always like, "Can I help you?" I'm like, like I don't belong there, and I'm like, I'm a crafty person. I do belong here. But just go in, and they're really inexpensive, and bam, done. Joann's Fabrics or Michael's or something like that. I remember I was in Michael's one time, and I ran into somebody that was one of my wife's girlfriends, and she's like, "What are you doing here?" I said, "You don't understand. This is my place, not my wife's place. I'm the crafty one." So I like going to those stores and that don't have hobby things and seeing how you can use non-hobby related things for the hobby purpose. It's always fun, to do stuff like that. I love my wet blending and that's what I used to call it. I used to call this blending, but it's technically called layering. I mean, I blend here and don't blend on the figure. But yeah, I don't know how I started painting. I've been painting this way since the mid 90s. I'm sure it was something that I saw in a White Dwarf or something way back in the day. And I remember thinking, these guys that are doing it in 28s are only using like 3 or 4 colors. And I'm like, I use more than that on 15s, especially for faces. I just think it needs a little bit more of a subtler approach. We're going to add a tiny little bit of white on here. Let's hope we don't screw this up. Hey, I paint really thin. It's easy to fix it up. Okay, and then we're going to be saying, didn't I just clean my brush so I wouldn't have any vestiges of red, and I turn around and add more red to it? I am. You guys need to keep an eye on me. It's not my turn to watch me. What? So add a little bit of white here and do the same thing with the yellow on the shield. There we go. Now we're cooking. Now we're cooking. All right. All right. So I do not want to make an entire horse that's completely yellow, because it'll look just like this other guy. So here's what we're going to do. Here's where we're going to do our cheat. We're going to make the barding on the horse all white. Then we're going to put a crest. We're going to put a little shield. We're going to paint a shield here in the quarter portion here and the quarter portion there that matches this one. And that's going to be his heraldry. We might even do it up front here as well. Okay, so that's what we're going to do to kind of mix up the whole thing. And we are going to go ahead and give him his surcoat is going to be white, and that way this guy will be white, red, and yellow all together. So let's get on that. And we're not going to use gray. We're going to use this. Where's my SS Camo Black? I think it's over here. I think I don't know why. Is there not enough moisture in here? Looks like there's enough. Oh, it's drying out so fast. Okay, gone midnight, time for bed. Shield's looking much better. No work tomorrow. Queen's birthday. Huzzah! Which queen? Well, I didn't vote for her. All right, enjoy your day off tomorrow. We had the long weekend last weekend, the Memorial Day weekend. This is just a standard 2-day weekend. All right, so we're going to go ahead and You know what? We're going to mix the white up a little bit. Still going to go with that brown, but we're going to use not white as the base. This color is the base. Pale sand or green gray. We'll highlight with white. That way it doesn't look completely stark. One color. It's got some other little, no more bending over today. It's not a work day. Not getting paid for that. All right, let's start with this. Here we go. All right, so we got that. Same thing. Just wanted to vary it a little bit. See, it's almost the same. I don't think we need to go darker than that. We're just going to paint the whole thing in this color. I'll probably do the cert coat using a white as a base, so it'll look a little bit more gray. Just to vary the cloths. They're not all made by the same tailor. And these particular knights are not going to necessarily be on the same stand. There's 2 stands of these knights. And what works better, instead of trying to micromanage everything from the get-go, is just kind of paint some variations and then seal them all up and then figure out who's going to go on what stand later in what position. It just, you save a lot of time doing that. So usually if I'm using a figure that, say, like these knights, that you want them to all be individuals, they're going to be painted differently, but you, for whatever reason, you've got a couple of figures that are in the same pose, like I did on these first 2. Then I will paint all of the figures that are that same pose to force me to be conscious about not making them the same color scheme or what have you. So in other words, not make the 2 guys that are the same pose and on the same horse both in yellow. Make them vary on purpose, because that way your eye will be a little bit more fooled and think that there's more variation in the army than there really is. Got it? So one of my favorite things to do is pick what figures I'm going to use for what army, and then after they're painted, figure out what figure is going to go in which position on which stand. Those 2 processes I enjoy immensely, and I like doing quite a bit. So ironically, one of the biggest enemies of this army is the Holy Roman Emperor. And it's ironic because, how do you get crowned Holy Roman Empire? By the Pope, but yet you're fighting the Pope. So it's kind of ironic that, it's basically a pissing match on who's going to control more of Italy, the Holy Roman Emperor or the Pope connection. So, now, this is an interesting army in that not only can it have 1 ally, sometimes it can actually have 2. It can have an Italian, the communal Italian as an ally, or it could have them as 2 allies. So with an ally, those you guys that are not familiar with, the way an ally works is you can replace, if you have an ally, you replace 3 of your elements of your core army that is not the general. So whatever the general happens to be, you wouldn't replace that one. You'd replace any 3 other elements of your core army. And you would replace them with 3 elements of your ally. Now, what elements in your ally you get to choose from are as follows. The first of the 3 elements chosen must be the element type that is the general of that ally. So in communal Italian, I believe it can be a command wagon or a knight. It's got to be one of those 2. Of course, it does not behave like a command element at all. It is just an extra element, but it needs to be of the type that the general in the ally is. So it would be, you'd replace 3 elements in the Papal Italian army, and they would be a command wagon. If you wanted to do Italian, communal Italian allies, it would be either command wagon or a knight general. It would be either a, yeah, one of those two things, okay? The second element chosen has to be the most common element in the listing. And enlisting is, it would be whatever it is in the biggest group. So you wouldn't add like all of the knights together. You would add, like, if this one says 2 knights, that would be an element of 2. You find out what the biggest group is. There might be one that you have to have 4 elements in the core army. Well, that has to be the second element. So you've got to pick that one. And the third is any of those elements that you haven't chosen. They can still be of the same type that you chose. They just can't be the same one. So for instance, let's say your second element was in an army that you could have a knight, but you can only have one of them. You couldn't pick that knight again because there's only one in the core army. That's very difficult for that to happen because you have to have an ally that does not have 2 of any particular element. But I guess theoretically it could happen. That's the 3 elements you replace. Now, when you have 2 allies, it works a little differently. The core army ends up replacing 4 elements. And those 4 elements from the 2 allies are what the commander is of each. Again, it doesn't get treated like a general. You don't get +1. And then the most common element of each. So you don't have as much choice generally unless you're an army that has 2 of this or 2 of this or 2 of this or 2 of this or 2 of this. Then you would be free to choose whatever you want for that one other element because they're all the same. But most armies don't have that choice. They have a most common element and you got to go with that. So you don't have that third element to choose of anything in that army. So, but of course, neither one of these will move with its own pip. The center of if you put one on each wing, the center would use their own pips, and then these side ones would use their own pips. You'd still use the 1 pip roll, but you couldn't combine them to move them together as a group with anything else. So it's kind of a unique situation, and I think it's kind of limiting, and it's going to be interesting to how that plays out in certain battles. So, but for right now, we're just making the core army of the papal states. But these knights are all mercenaries. In this particular army. Don't know if that made any sense, but since we're on the subject, I figured I would bring it up and then talk about that a little bit. It is a little confusing for most people because, it's hard to find where it's listed. It's at the beginning there before all the army list, but that's what that means. This army list for these guys is something I've never seen before because the way it's listed is under allies. It's 0 to 2 communal Italian. So you don't have to have an ally, but if you do, you could have 1 or 2 communal Italian allies. So that's interesting. But the allies is nice because not necessarily for this army, but for an army that is just flat out not competitive. It allows you to find a more competitive way to play that army. So it allows you to have more armies that you could potentially play in, say, like an open setting or something like that. So more choices is good. Options are good. Freedom is good. When in doubt, always choose freedom. Wow. Finger farts, as I like to say, call them. So this guy will be done. Then we'll have 3 more nights to do. Of course, we'll spray them all and mount them all together. We'll wait till we get all that stuff together, but hopefully we can get them done in the next week or so. And I'll probably base these guys. I'm not going to wait until they're warm done. I'll probably do these 6 nights, spray them, base them, goop the stands, all that stuff. Have them finished, you know, that kind of thing. Yesterday, I think we broke 1,300 subscribers. So thank all of you. Thank you for all you guys that have subscribed to my channel. It makes it easier for people to find my content. It gives my uploading videos priority over some other people that don't have as many subscribers. So I've been told. I don't know if it makes that much of a difference. And, you know, it's makes it a little bit more cushion to do videos. Now, I want to get past this point where we're doing this shield because it's coming up soon. As a matter of fact, I'm probably going to stop right here and do that before I get carried away. So what my intention is to get my black over here. I didn't want to put these horizontal red and yellow stripes all the way across as barding. It's just going to look wrong. It's going to look like, yeah, nobody did that. So we're going to keep this a little bit more reasonably sized. And we're going to paint a shield on here, and then we're going to paint it just like that shield is on him. Okay, so we're going to find kind of the center of where this is. And just draw a little outline like so. We're going to fill this outline in black. We did this in, was it the Scottish General that we did? Something like that. I did this recently. My Hungarians. That's what it is. Okay, so now we got a filled in shield like that. We're going to go to the other side. Okay, and it may end up overlapping behind where his scabbard is, which I'm pretty sure it will. So that's fine. We just do a partial on that side because it still needs to be in the center of that section there. Okay, we're going to clean up that edge here, but looks good on that edge. Okay, let's come in here and find where this white is and clean this up. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and paint this little shield in the same method. Running out of this stuff fast. So you got some colors here. I like to just come in here and again, nobody has taken credit for using the contact lens case as a container for this stuff. It wasn't my idea. I like to give credit where credit's due. Let me know if it's one of you guys. We can all learn from each other. Even dumbasses have some good ideas, like me. I eventually will come up with something. Oh, man. All right, so back to the red over here and the yellow. I think we needed to do the yellow as the base everywhere. Right. So we're going to come in here trying to leave a little bit of this black border around the edge of this. We'll do the same on this other side. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and do the red striping. Get that balanced in there so it's in the correct place. Can you even see it there? There we go. Okay. Let's just fill that in a little bit. Back again, Australian Greg. Back for more. Okay. So we filled that in with the darker shade. Let's go ahead and lighten this up here. Okay, we're going to go ahead and do the yellow. You know, you won't be able to paint for a while as we're flying out to Cairns in a few days' time. Where the hell is Cairns? The day we fly out, snow is expected. You lucky bastard. I love snow. I don't want to live in it, but where is Cairns? Let's see if I can find it. Cairns, QLD Australia. That's got to be what it is. Okay. Oh, that's over there by the reef. You gonna do any reef stuff? Cairns, Australia. Queensland. Yeah. Reef's out there, right? Oh yeah. Let's look at this satellite picture. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. I love that kind of stuff. Isn't that up there where that Australian movie took place? What's it called? It was like that Red Dawn movie that came out a few years ago. I watched it. The day the somebody invented, not the day the Earth stood still, something. The day the war came, something like that. It's an Australian movie. It's a it's a Red Dawn type movie. I thought it was better than American versions or either one of the two American versions. So, um, you know, the girls were cuter. That always helps. Um, Actually, I think that was Brisbane. I don't know. It was a make believe, whatever. That came out a couple of years ago. I think that's what it's called. The Day the War Came or something like that. It was on Netflix. I caught it a couple of years ago. The Chinese invasion and naval landing. The Chinese are coming for you. We'll be right there. Okay. We're well, I don't know. You know. Yeah. Cairns. Cairns. Still out here. Oh, that's way up there. That's way up there. Yeah, I forget your country's so darn big too. Let me look at the map of Brisbane. Yeah, I want to say it took place like in Brisbane or something like that. Those damn yellow communists landed on your damn shores, and those kids gave them the day the war started. That's what it is. Yeah, that lead girl's super cute. Enjoyed that. It was better than the U.S. versions, which doesn't say anything. We don't have the best movies in this country. Sorry, folks. The day the war started. Yeah, I caught that a couple of years ago. Yeah, if they're coming, we got your back. We'll be right there. Okay, let's take a look at what we got here. See if I can get a good focus. Sometimes it's just a mini shield there. Come on. All right, we're going to go back to painting the white all the way around, or the off-white all the way around. Go back to our bigger brush. There's 3 novels in this series. Well, I'm not going to read the books. I just want the movie. The author is John Marsden. Okay, nice looking figure. Who's the manufacturer? This is now sold by Alternative Armies. It used to be 15 millimeter Co UK, and I believe they're old tabletop games figures. I could be wrong. They're second tier figures. Sorry, folks, for those of you that think these guys are all that in a bag of chips, they're dated. There's nothing wrong with them. They're going to paint up just fine. I'm going to be very proud of them, but I have so many of these guys, and I'm like, I got to put these guys to good use. And you know, I don't mean that ugly. They don't have the detail. They're stumpy. They're not up to current. The quality and style the new figures are. They're more cartoonish. So, but that doesn't keep me from using these figures. I just have so many of them that I get a thrill out of painting these figures that nobody gives a crap about, as I like to call them. Nobody's out jumping through hoops and buying. Not the first thing that comes to mind, but I've got so many of them. That's why when you got a company like Coruscant or whatever that has really nice figures, and they came out with Turks just as I was finishing mine, and I'm like, I'm not going to, yeah, their Turks are nice, but I'm not going to redo my entire army just because new figures came out, because that could happen at any time, you know? So, your daughter may be interested in the novels as they're aimed at teenage readers. So all of a sudden, she didn't read anything in the last year. I mean, she's finishing a book in like 3 days. It's crazy. And watching no TV. And I'm totally supportive of that, because you're working on so many things when you're reading. You're spelling, all kinds of stuff. So she does, she seems to like to read dystopian stuff. So that might actually be. She's got to read like a sample, and she's just captivated by it. Because I don't want to encourage her to say, "Hey, read this," and like, that sucked. I don't want to read books anymore. Oh, sorry, just kind of let her to her own devices or whatever. But what's the name of that author? James who? James. John Marsden. John Marsden. John Marsden. Is that the first one in the series? I know. I enjoyed it. Except for the part where you guys drive around the wrong side of the road. I didn't like that part very much. No, I'm not going to drop that. Sorry. Hey, that's the only thing I can say bad about Australia. That's pretty good, right? Oh, even the French got it right. There you go. That's twisting the knife. Oh man, I got nothing bad to say about Australia. Till I go there and find that one arsehole you say it's on your continent. It's a country. It's an island. It's a continent. Yes, 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 yes. All of the above. It's too big to be an island. That's like calling Antarctica an island. I guess technically yes. He's an Australian author, and yes, that's the first novel in the series. Cool. I will see if she's interested in reading that. It banned that comment and it held that comment. No arsehole is called Greg. Yes, there is, but he uses two G's in his name. What do you think about that? What do you think about people that spell their name Gregg? I think it's like a stuttering issue or something. It looks weird, to be honest with you. It looks weird. Greg. I'll tell her about that. I think it's rated R movie. I don't think she could see it. She's getting there where it depends on the movie. I'll let her watch it. Just if it just has too much stuff like, if it's something like Deadpool, no. I mean, but if it's something that's just violence, then yeah. Because, you got to know when invaders come, you got to pop, two to the chest, one to the head. But, just stuff like Deadpool, as funny as it is, that's a bit far. Grr egg. Yeah. So that movie's in a series. I don't remember how it ended. I don't remember how it ended, but I don't remember how they got the jump on you guys. I mean, it's not like you guys have a worthless military. I mean, yeah, it might be small, but you know, you guys have a history of whooping people's ass. So I'd like to think you could take on China all by yourself if they came to you, obviously. Gotta go. Lorraine wants to go to sleep. See you later. Well, let her go to sleep. She's not the boss of you. Well, let me not speak for you. We'll catch you later, Greg. I'm usually the one that goes to sleep earlier. Okay, let's add a little bit more of this core color. Eventually, we're working our way up to white. Yeah, my daughter's on this reading kick. She has been the last 6 months, maybe even a year. I'm really proud of her. Reading's really good for you. Unless you're reading, Stephen King or something demented like that. She doesn't do stuff like that, so. Um, I love to read, but it puts me to sleep. It's too relaxing. I'm just devouring books. When I read, I do tend to read things that are really complicated because, I'm looking at it from the standpoint of like, okay, how can I simulate this battle or, history stuff? It's really complex. So, only way I can get through stuff is the help of Audible. So, currently reading a book on the Normans by having read to me. Guy's author's name is Lars something or another. It's all right. It's okay. It sucks compared to Dan Jones stuff. Uh, the Normans, Lars Brownworth, um, from Raiders to Kings. Yeah, it's okay. It's not bad. I know most of the history anyways. I just wanted add some little interesting things on there that I may not know about to make me want to read a little bit more about it. So it doesn't focus completely on William the Bastard. It treats all areas pretty evenly. So or maybe a quarter of the way through that on my Audible reading list. I'll be wrapping up this soon. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go ahead and stop now that I'm done with this shade and see where you guys are. Show you guys how far we got, and this is where we'll pick up next time. How long have we been on here? 3.5 hours? That's how you get stuff done. I'll show you what we got so far here. So he got his little shield tie-in to his big shield. Yeah. Then this will be the next guy that we finish up against with these. That'll give us 3 of these knights, mercenary knights. So, okay. Well, until next time, happy painting. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and we'll catch you guys next time. Thanks for stopping by, and catch you guys next time. Bye bye.